up? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'm just gonna be talking and building Legos. These aren't actually real Legos, but they're from Five Below and they're strawberry shortcake. If y'all don't know, I love strawberry shortcake. I've been strawberry shortcake like a million times for Halloween. Here's some pictures to show. And I literally was strawberry shortcake for Halloween the other day. My boyfriend bought me these, so I'm gonna build them because why not? Okay, this is where I'm gonna build it, so you can see. There's a spider. Today we're building her bakery, so it's about to eat. Okay, I actually started opening this the other day, so I was gonna do it, then I was like, no. And I played cards with my sisters instead, so we're gonna do it now. Here we go. So let's get all the packages out. Get out these two pieces and then put them kind of like this. If that makes sense? Okay, so we're gonna move these out of the way. Let me try to answer some questions, even though I don't have any questions prepared with me because I just don't. I think this is a little bit better. Here's what we're making. This is what we're making. Maybe I'll tell y'all my appendicitis story. Y'all want to hear that? Probably one of the craziest things that I've ever gone through, and like, that was bizarre. So if y'all don't know, I was diagnosed like 2 years ago with endometriosis and PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and they both
suck so much.
And they're both just very, very, very painful, like very painful when they suck. That is where it goes on. So just like that. Okay, sorry, back to the story. So 2 years ago, I was diagnosed, and honestly, that was kind of funny because my doctor was like, you have this really big cyst and it hurts and what's that, and it's whatever. And I basically just acted like I was dying. I was not dying, but I acted like it because I thought it was the end of the world. My doctor literally explained it as like,
when this bursts, it's gonna feel like you're getting stabbed.
And I was like, oh,
that's not fun. That does not sound fun at all.
It wasn't fun. Spoiler alert, it was not fun. But I made it through and whatever. And then I remember the day that he was like, we called them my sisters. And I remember the day he was
It's like, your sister didn't make it.
and I was like, oh.
Oh,
And yeah, and then just kind of happened from there. And then occasionally I would just have these like weird pains. Kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. And I know that women with endometriosis have said this before, but it feels like side stitch. It feels like you have side stitch, but like kind of 10 times worse than side stitch, if that makes sense. The thing about endometriosis pain is that you can't explain what it feels like. You just can't. And that's fine because people will understand you. I understand you. If you feel gross, I understand you. Endometriosis is not fun. That's for sure. Is this where you can see it better? I don't know how y'all can see it better, but this is what it looks like right now. So a couple months later, I went back and he was like, we're gonna put you on this higher dosage of medication and then come back to me in 3 months and we'll see where we are from there. I didn't go back until like 6 months later, which is fine because I was doing fine at the time. I really was. I wasn't in a lot of pain. I wasn't whatever. I was doing fine. And then I went back to him. That was probably February of this year, I think. And then we tried this medication, and so I was on my other medication. I was on like my normal medication and then this new one. And I tried that for, how long did I try that for? Like a couple months. Like probably I stopped in August and I think I started it in like March or something. May or April, I think. And so then we started that medication and I just never really noticed a difference. I was just always in pain. And editing Peyton here, and I just wanted to add in really quick that my doctor told me that this new medicine that I just started was supposed to like kill all the endometriosis. Like, I don't even remember the percentage that he said, but he said it was supposed to kill all the endometriosis, and I never saw a difference in my pain. Most of the time when I was in pain, it was either when I like ate like a heavy meal, or not even really a heavy meal, but like just like a bigger meal. Like if I ate like a lot, it would hurt really bad, and like I would just be in a lot of pain and I didn't know why. And yeah, it was just like not very fun. And like when I lifted things, which I don't know if you know this, but my family moves a lot, so I lift things a lot. And like just like when I lifted heavy things and when I like ran and when I just moved fat, like if I just did a lot of things that like, not even really a lot of things, just things that made my body like whatever, I was in pain. And I'm also dramatic, and sometimes I'm like, I'm in pain, and sometimes I'm whatever, but like I was in pain. Like I would know. Like this was something I was not being dramatic about and whatever, and I'd like come home from school early because I was just in so much pain and like didn't really enjoy it, and yeah. And I kept getting sonograms and blood tests and everything looked normal. Nothing looked unusual, nothing whatever. And I was so sad because I was like, I feel like it's my endometriosis and I feel like nothing's going on. So we went back to the doctor and so I saw him last in I don't even remember, like April or something. Or no, I think the last I saw him was like February or something like that. Like it was pretty long from the last time I saw him. Now I just want to say something. I don't know if I've already said this before, but surgery has been on the table a lot. Like it would always be this medication if not surgery, this medication if not surgery. And we said it so many times that I thought it would never happen. Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to have surgery. I don't. Oh no, I did this wrong, guys. Like we were literally trying to avoid it at all costs just because I just didn't want to. Like who wants to have surgery? They don't have to. So we went back to him in July and I was kind of just like, I am still in pain. Like I don't know what's happening. I'm still hurting and whatever. And I was discouraged because it just kind of felt like every medication I tried was messing with my emotions and whatever. And so emotionally it was just draining and like whatever. And so I just felt so discouraged because I was like, what is this and what could it possibly be? Because he kept being like, your levels and everything are normal. We went to him and I was like, I am in pain. I don't know what to do. And he was like, okay, we're going to get a sonogram and a blood test and we're going to see what happens. And then he was like,
but you're probably going to need surgery.
And I was like,
Okay.
like, wasn't prepared. I mean, I was prepared to hear that, but I like, you know. So he was like, you're going to get a sonogram and whatever. And he was so nice to me. He's like the best doctor ever. He was like, I'm not going to do it until you are ready. It's not up to, I mean, obviously it's up to my mom, but he was like,
I'm also like, it's up to you and your mom, and I'm not going to do it until you are ready. Like, I'm not going to do it until you are ready.
and he was like, if you're not ready, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, okay. But like, can y'all agree that like that kind of thing is like scary? It's like just to even think about. It's like the feeling of going under. No thank you. I don't even want to think about that like at all. He knew I was gonna say yes to surgery. I knew I was gonna say yes to surgery. Like we just both knew it. And because in the long run, I'd rather just have the recovery and have all the things of like going through surgery than be in pain for the rest of my life. It literally put a pause on my life. Like I like could not do a lot because I was just in so much pain. So then he was like, you're gonna get a sonogram and whatever, and if your sonogram looks worse than February, then we're gonna have to do surgery soon, but if not, then we can like whatever. Editing Peyton here again. I just wanted to add in really quick that I didn't really make sense when I said that, but during the doctor appointment, my mom was like, we're gonna go on a trip to Portland like in 3 weeks or whatever, and like should we be concerned or like whatever. And he basically was like, you're gonna get a blood test and a sonogram, and if they're different, like worse than February, then we're gonna have surgery before your Portland trip. If not, then we can like hold it off and wait. So we were like, okay. And so then we went back to him. 2 weeks later, I got my sonogram, and then 2 weeks later, we went back to him, and this was probably the dreadful day, like the day that I like was not wanting. But we told him that we were gonna have surgery, and he was like, okay. And then he's just the nicest, and he was like, I promise, like I'm gonna take care of you, and everything's gonna be fine, and I don't want you to be in pain at all. I don't want you to be in pain, and I want you to feel like, you know, normal. I didn't feel normal. I feel like I'm not explaining this right because I'm also building Legos at the same time, so forgive me if I didn't explain this right. A little editing me is gonna pop in every once in a while and say something if I didn't say anything right. So then at that point, he was like, the tool I want to use, I need it to be delivered here, and it will not be delivered until the first week of September. So it will be sometime in the first week of September. And then the panic sets in of, I don't know if y'all know this, but I love Twenty One Pilots so much. And I was going to a Twenty One Pilots concert on September like 6th or something. I don't even remember what day it was. Here's where the funny part happens. So when I was little, we had to scare that my brother had appendicitis, and literally ever since then, I've always been afraid that I was gonna have appendicitis because I didn't want surgery. Not because I was afraid that it was gonna like burst and whatever, and there's a lot of other things I could have had anxiety for having surgery, but appendicitis was probably my number one. Literally, I don't even know why. I forgot to mention, but at my doctor's appointments, my doctor literally said, if there's endometriosis on your appendix, I will take your appendix out. Anything that I can take out, I will if there's endometriosis on it. And I was like, okay. And I went around telling people that my doctor was going to take out my appendix probably because if there was endometriosis on it. And then everyone started to like laugh with me because I used to be afraid of having appendicitis. And I literally told everybody, now look at me, I'm having surgery for something else and he might remove my appendix. Little did I know. So then finally she's getting closer and closer to the surgery. I had to wait like I think a month or so. I don't know how long that was actually. Maybe it wasn't a month. I don't think it was a month, but it was like far away for when I knew it was going to be. So my surgery was going to be September 9th. And I got to go to the 12 Pilots concert, guys, just letting y'all know. So it was getting closer and closer to my surgery, and I was terrified. I was not excited, and I was like really sad and scared. And then finally my pre-op happened, and that's when it all set in that it was like actually really happening. And I was like literally sitting there in the doctor's office, and I was like, I can't do it. And my mom was like, are you gonna chicken out? And I was like, no, I'm not gonna chicken out, but I can't do it. And that was probably one of like the most depressing quiet days of my life, because I just like was so depressed, and I just like wanted to sit there in silence and cry. I was really dramatic and scared, guys. Finally, the weekend actually just comes for it, because my surgery was on a Monday, and the weekend was kind of crazy. My grandparents had a dedication at the RV park that they have, and we had to set up for it, and I was in a lot of pain, but that was also my last day of like eating real food until after my surgery and whatever. We had like a last dinner and stuff like that, and then I went shopping for my clear diet. Not really my clear, well yeah, kind of clear, but just my liquid diet. I couldn't really drink any sodas, and if y'all don't know, I love Diet Coke, so that was pretty weird. So then finally, the day before comes, and that was honestly probably worse more than surgery day, because I actually went under my surgery and didn't really know exactly what was all happening during my surgery. But the day before, I knew everything that was happening. And if you didn't know, you have to clean out your system for that kind of surgery. Do you know where I'm going with this? Let's just say that was not a really fun day. Let's just say I had a really crappy day. Somebody laugh at me. It actually was. But anyway, so then my stepmom came to be with me, and that night was pretty fun. Like my sisters came to hang out. It was like me, my sisters, and my mom, my stepdad. I think my stepdad was in the living room with us at the time, but we were like all watching Harry Potter and stuff like that. We were just like chilling there, laying down, and I was kind of just like in my head. And then finally it was time to like go to bed, and it was like my last hour of eating, so I like tried to eat anything I could, like Jello and whatever, but like literally I just had like chicken broth and Jello that whole day. How come I never did that? I don't know. Oh crap. She's hanging in there, guys. This is what it looks like so far. It's so cute. Remember, this is what we're going for. So then I went to bed, and I woke up at 5 in the morning, and we had to drive all the way to Glen Rose, which is kind of far from my house. I think I'm gonna cry, because this was supposed to be a fun YouTube video of me building Legos where I tell y'all about how I had appendicitis. You're literally joking. Sorry, I don't know what just happened, and I'm like trying to continue to tell my story. We drove all the way to Glen Rose, and I was really hungry and starving, and we picked up my Grammy on the way to Glen Rose because I wanted my Grammy there too. We got there, and it was the same thing as they told us, like my pre-op was like, come in through here, just sign in through here and whatever, and then we had to do this thing of like, I guess paying for the surgery and like signing all these forms and stuff like that. And then we waited, and they came in to get me, and then just me and my mom went back since she's my mom. They like put my gown on, and I was just sitting there, and then I think literally the worst part of the whole thing was them doing my IV. That was awful. Worst experience of my entire life. I did not like it. I hated it so much I cried. And they were like, that's the worst part. And so then I was also just so nervous that I was like, what am I doing? Like, and so then I was just sitting there, and then my Grammy and my stepmom got to come back. So I sat together, and then the anesthesiologist came in, and she talked to me, and then my nurse came in, and then my doctor came in, and we talked about it, what's happening and whatever, and then he was like, let's take her back, and I was like, no, and then I cried again because I was like, oh my gosh. And then my anesthesiologist took the thing out of my IV and then shot the anesthesia in my IV, and then like I was like crying and whatever, hugging my mom by, and then as soon as they wheeled me out of the curtain, my mom wasn't even out of the room yet, I stopped crying. And they were like, so you're a junior? And I was like, yeah. And then we just like talked, and it was like weird. And then I went back for surgery, and I remember my doctor telling me that this was supposed to be exploratory surgery, so he didn't know how long it was going to be, and I was like, great. And yeah, he didn't really know anything like how long recovery was going to be. So then we got to the operating room, and I don't really remember anything except them being like, scooch on to the, like, move from this bed to this bed, and then all I remember is my nurse being like, scoot down, and she was like, can you scoot down a little this way? And I was like, yeah. And that's all I remember. I remember waking up, and I was like, out of it, obviously. But I remember waking up and then they were like, I think, this is the part I can't really remember, if they told me it was my appendix before or after my mom came. I can't remember if my mom told me it was my appendix or not. Turns out it was my appendix, guys. It was my appendix the whole time. So I remember them, okay, the first thing I actually remember hearing them saying was like, it was like an hour, and they did 2 parts of the surgery, but I'm not going to go into what both parts were, but it was an hour, and I was pretty chatty, and I didn't think I was going to be pretty chatty. Like, I've never been put under before, so I didn't know what I was going to be like under anesthesia. And I was pretty chatty, and they were like, Peyton Ruth is your name? And I was like,
My middle name is Luca.
and they were like, wow. And I could tell they did not care, but I cared that my middle name was Luca, apparently. Then they were like, told me that I did really good and whatever, and it was a lot of like fun just getting to sit there and talk to them. And I was like under this really warm blanket, and I felt really nice, and I just had the best sleep of my entire life. Like, it was honestly the best sleep I've ever gotten. And then my mom came in. They like asked for my name so they can call my mom back. And then she came in, and I think they told me, so I think she walked in and I was like, my appendix, like, that's crazy. Like, it was a crazy moment just because I was like, I literally like was like, what? It was just crazy. And so then they're like, you have to go to the bathroom before you leave. I got to sit there for a minute. My mom gave me my phone, and I was like, text my boyfriend. And I did, and I was like, oh my gosh, babe, I made it out. My boyfriend woke up like at 5 with me that morning to tell me, like, just to text me, just to comfort me. Isn't that so sweet? He's the best. And then I like texted my boyfriend, and my mom texted him when I got out of surgery, but I was like, texting him being like, oh my gosh, like, that's crazy, because we were laughing that it was my appendix, because like I said, I was scared that I was gonna have appendicitis, guys. Anyway, so then I had to get up to the bathroom, and that wasn't very fun because I didn't really want to walk because I was like in this really warm bed, and I was like, bro, what the heck? And then I was also really polite. Like, I was so polite. Like, I remember them being like, here's your water, and she'd like hand me my water, and I'd be like, thank you. Like, it was, not saying I'm never polite, but I was like really polite that day. Editing Peyton again because I feel like I left out a lot of things, but that was just like really funny when I woke up because I went to the bathroom and my nurse was helping me because obviously I couldn't really walk a lot, and we were in the bathroom and my nurse was like, so you work at Chick-fil-A? And I was like, I did. And she was like, so you mostly babysit now? And I was like, yeah, mostly babysitting. And I guess it didn't click in my head in the moment, but then I got in the car like later when we were going home. I was like, Mom, did you tell them I work at Chick-fil-A? She was like, no. I think I literally told them that, like, that I worked at Chick-fil-A and everything. It was so weird. And also, my doctor, and I saw him on the way to the bathroom, like, I saw him, I walked by, or I didn't walk by, I was in a wheelchair. I was wheeling by, and he was like, are you kidding me? Like, it was your appendix the whole time, whatever. And then he told the nurse, don't be nice to her, she's really mean to me. And it was just really funny. And it was like, probably, I think I was really happy in the moment. And, like, I was just so happy. I was just, like, so happy. And then I got to go home and chill out and watch movies all day. Actually, just kidding. I watched ER, which is my favorite show, and I watched that like all day. And then my boyfriend came over to see me, and he brought me Rolos and flowers and Robux so I can buy VIP under a student price. And and then he brought me a Switch game so I could play while I was bored. And then he brought me, I think that was it. And we sat on the couch and watched football with my parents, or my stepdad and my mom. And we walked like just around like a lap, just up and down the yard, so I could walk around because that's the thing I wanted to do, was walk around and try to get better as fast as I could. Editing Peyton here again. I just want to come in here and update y'all that I am almost 2 months post-op and I'm feeling better than ever. I'm feeling a lot better than I did before and everything like that. I had 4 incisions and they all healed great. And yeah, and it was just a whole journey to go through, but now I have experience and it was weird and it was cool, but I'm glad that it's finally over. And then it was just a long road to recovery and everything was fine. Everything worked out great and I recovered and now I'm not in pain anymore. So that was my story of having appendicitis. It was growing. So what I had was a subacute appendicitis, and it basically was just like growing for like over a year. And like was just huge and was like wrapped around all these organs and stuff. Like an appendix is supposed to be small, like a coffee stir stick, and it's supposed to be like floating around, and it was not floating around. It was like obviously it's attached to your intestine, but it's supposed to like move around and flow around. It was not. My doctor did find a little bit of endometriosis, but the thing that was it was my appendix that was causing me all this pain. It was huge. It was like not the size of a coffee stir stick, I can tell you that. But yeah, and that was my appendicitis story. I am happy that my endometriosis and everything is under control and that I don't have to really worry about that being the problem. And yeah, I just feel a lot better now. I'm just really grateful that we caught it at the right time, because if we didn't, it could have turned into something really bad and like could have been so much worse than it already was. So if anything, I don't think I had anything that bad. Okay, there's Strawberry. I made her for y'all. Isn't she so cute? It took me so long, but there she is. This is the finished product. This is what it looks like. The stickers do not look the best, but you know what? It's okay. It's even worse on the inside. These are the stickers on the inside. Clearly they're not even or anything, but you know what? It's fine. This is what it looks like. It's so cute. Everybody go thank Nate for getting me these because they're so cute. I love them so much. I literally love strawberry shortcake. So if you want cute strawberry shortcake Legos, run to 5 below. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and card shot that bell for notifications so you never miss out on a post of mine. I've been gone. I don't know what other vlogs I'm going to do now. I always say production vlog, but we'll see. But besides that, that's all I have for this video. So I'll see you on the next video. Bye!